Hi everybody, my name is Joseph. I'm a psychic medium, and on this channel I talk about entrepreneurship, the universe, and my experience as a psychic. So today I want to do a sit-down video where I'm just talking to you guys about, again, self-awareness. And on this channel, I would talk a lot about self-awareness. I would talk a lot about self-love. I would talk a lot about self-development. I would talk a lot about self-value and self-worth, because a lot of people don't realize this. A lot of the things that prevents us from moving forward in life are those things. And a lot of what I talk about is my experience with learning self-love, with learning self-development, with learning self-awareness, with really, taking into account and really understanding my own self-value and my own self-worth, which took me a long time in my life to really discover these things about myself and really to be comfortable with who I am, my gifts, and really just learning to love everything about myself. I spoke a little bit about this in my video that's about spiritual awakening, about spiritual awakening, and I talked a little bit about mine. So in this video, I will go a bit more into detail, not too much detail. So I will talk about my second, not my second, because my spiritual awakening again lasted for 5 years. And, when I went through so much to get to a point where I go through so much. Sorry, I just got a text message. That's why I was like, I go through so much in my life. Let me rephrase that. I went through so much in my life, and to get to a point where I realized that the things that I were allowed in my life were a reflection of my own self-value. And so I will probably talk about this more in detail another time in another video, but I was in a relationship that was very toxic. And I was in a relationship with someone who, actually I have two relationships that I can actually talk about that I feel like people will learn from, but I'm only going to talk about this particular one for right now. I was in a relationship that was very toxic. We wasn't really in a relationship. We just had a dynamic, or as I like to call this part of my life, a series of bad decisions that I just continuously made. Anyway, so this guy that I was in my life, and I had really when he first came in my life, and when I first realized that, I had no real intentions of liking him, or him did not like him at all. Actually, I was repulsed by him. Not repulsed, but that's a really strong word, but I just didn't like him. Over time, because we got to know each other, we started hanging out, I realized that he wasn't there was this softness to him. This softness that honestly will only come out around me. And I began to really understand him and understand that he's been through some things, right? So then our friendship developed, and then all of a sudden we started dating. His story is very much different than mine, about us dating, but that's what we were doing. Although at the time I didn't realize it, he didn't realize it, we were actually dating. And then came everything else, all the things that really solidified the fact that we were dating, the sexual things. And then it just got to a point where, he realized that he had really strong feelings for me, or the fact that he had, that he was falling in love with me, and then he just became super angry. And it was just, I watched this person go through this war of himself, where it's he wanted to be with me, but something in him wouldn't allow him, and he just became angry that there was this strong part of himself that he couldn't control about himself when it came to me. And also he was upset that I knew how I could intuitively know how he was feeling, and I would often tell him how he was feeling, and he did not like that. Well, at the time I was doing that to a lot of people, and a lot of people don't like that. And that was another lesson I had to learn, which I'll talk about another time. And eventually it just got eventually our dynamic just got really, really toxic, where, unfortunately we were living in the same place, and, it just got to a point where we had to leave or whatever. And But before he moved, because he moved first, but before he moved, we had a few very violent situations that were all caused by him because of his, because of, I don't know, whatever he was going through, which we've actually never talked about because we don't talk anymore. And so he tried to stab me a few times. And so after all of this had happened, I really took the time to really heal and really try to understand why did I experience these things and why these things happened the way that they did. Because, I really did enjoy being with this person when it was good. It was great. But then when it was bad, it just got bad and it just got worse. But there was moments where, again, I would have these moments with him where anyone that was around, and then sometimes there were people around, they could tell that, he was absolutely in love with me. But then he would realize that he's showing this, he's being vulnerable in this moment, that he's shown his love for me. And then he'd find some way to fucking ruin it. He would say something really extremely disrespectful, or he would do something, or whatever the case is, because he just felt too vulnerable in those moments. And he felt like he just couldn't, he felt like the world was just stopping him from being himself. In reality, it was just him. So after all that, after he had left and, I went on this journey of healing and understanding that, why did I allow this person to be in my life for so long, knowing that it wasn't good, knowing that it was toxic, knowing that nothing never seemed to get better. It just seemed to get worse. But yet I was still trying. I was still trying to make an effort right up until it got to a point where I was just like, fuck it. And I was horrible to him. I was just like, get the fuck away from me. I was just really, really horrible to this person. And at this time, I didn't care because I had put in so much energy and so much effort. And then it just got to a point, it's like, this is not who I am. And so eventually I stopped. And then it was like, why did I allow this to happen for so long in my life? And then I realized, then I just had this epiphany, like, damn, is this all, everything, this is what I feel like I'm worthy of? I'm worthy of having this type of person in my life? Like, what the fuck? And it's like, no. So I felt like in life, when we go through things, we really have to learn from them. And we really have to ask ourselves questions about the things that we experience. Because what we allow to happen in our life is a manifestation. And then it's like there was just a period in my life where I just had these shitty ass guys in my life. And I'm trying to make effort with them. I'm trying to understand them. And it's like, fuck that. I got to a point in my life after really dissecting and evaluating myself in these relationships and in these situations, it's like I can't even be mad at this person anymore. I have to be mad at myself because I allowed this to happen. I'm continuously allowing this person to be in my life who's continuously putting me in a cycle of the same shit happening all over again. And when I finally decided that I'm done with cycles, I'm done with cycles. I'm done going through the same shit with the same people. And I'm not going to go through the same shit with new people. I'm just done. And I really had to set intentions for myself and really set boundaries with myself. What are boundaries, and what are boundaries for men that are going to come into my life? Really, what is the standard for a man that's going to come into my life? What is the standard for a friend that's going to come into my life? What is the standard for any person that's going to come into my life? And I really had to have a serious talk with myself and really create these standards and boundaries for myself to understand that, the value that I can give to another is worth a lot more than at the time when I felt like I was getting from other people. More specifically, in relationships. And I've realized that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter how much you want to try with someone. It doesn't matter how much energy and effort you put into someone. It does not matter how much you love someone. What matters is how much they love themselves. How much that person truly loves themselves. Because you can love somebody all day goddamn long, but if they don't love themselves, they won't see the love that you have for them. More importantly, they won't be able to express the love that they have for you. It doesn't mean that it won't be there. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It means that there's something wrong with that fucking person. And that's also something I had to understand. This person that I wanted so bad to be with, he had those feelings for me. He did love me, but he couldn't express them. One, because he didn't love himself. He actually fucking hated himself. And more importantly, he hated himself because he was in love with me. And I was taking that shit personal, like there was something wrong with me. No, bitch, there was nothing wrong with me. There was something wrong with him. And it was something wrong with him because he did not love himself. He did not value himself, and he did not recognize himself. He didn't recognize that it was okay to be who he was. It was okay to be who he wanted to be. And he cared more about the world thought about him, which honestly, no one thought anything about him because nobody gave a fuck. Nobody gave a fuck. And most things that happened, I was shielding him from anyway. So it wasn't me. It was you. It was me because I allowed you to be in my life for so fucking long. It was me because I continuously put an effort into something that was dead, that was not going anywhere because you were so fucking scared. It was me because I continuously allowed you to be in my life knowing that you just basically treated me like shit. So it was both of us. The point is that in situations like this, it's not always just one person's fault. It's always two people. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't ever sit around just complaining about being in a relationship with someone who treats you like shit. Do something about it. Do something about it. One of the things I actually said to this person is like, it got to a point where it was like, he was like, let's be friends. And I'm like, no, I don't like the way you treat me, so I'm going to do something about it. And I did, so now we don't talk. And then for a while, this person, he literally tried to like travel on the outskirts of my life. He would do weird shit, like he would like an Instagram post here, watch my story, and like just show up in really random places. And it's just like, and then eventually he would reach out. So I'm like, bro, you need to stop. This is weird. We're not doing this. Just leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean? Like, so make sure that before you complain about some shit about you being in a relationship where the person is treating you like shit, are you still in that relationship? Are you still allowing this person to treat you this way? Are you still putting energy and effort into this relationship, hoping he's going to change, hoping you can love him past his bullshit, or her? Let me tell you something. You can't. It's not going to happen. It won't fucking work. Maybe it happens for some fucking people. But actually, no, that doesn't happen for anybody. I don't even want to give you false hope. It's not going to work. You can't love someone past their own bullshit. You just can't. You can't. Even if you think you can, even if you don't believe me, I guarantee you in the long run, you will see that I'm right. So the best thing that you can do, is stop complaining about it, do something about it, and leave the situation. Because guess what? When you walk away from somebody, when you walk away from him, her, them, they, whoever the fuck they are, when you walk away from that fucking person and he realized that you walked away from them because of them, they're going to do two things. They're going to get their shit together, or they're going to accept the fact that you walked away. And you need to give that person that space, allow them to make that fucking decision. Because if you continuously keep making that decision for them, it's you that's going to end up fucked up and alone eventually. Okay, well, that was the video. And again, comment, let me know what you think. Subscribe if you're feeling up for it. I would subscribe personally. And all my links are down below in the video. You know, you can send me a message on Instagram. We can talk about this. Let me know. Let's argue. I love to argue. I'm a Scorpio. Anyway, bye.